Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I want to share with you guys the top 5 EDC knives that I've been carrying the most over, I think it's almost been a couple of months since the last time I did this video. This time around, each of these knives got very similar carry time, save for one because it's so new, but it's really been kind of a fight between the stuff that I've got here to make it into my pocket. A lot of great stuff. Can't wait to share it with you guys. I'll link everything that I can right down in the description. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's get started. All right, starting off here. This is going to make some people super excited and other people a little frustrated. This is a Microtech MSI, but you'll notice that the scales look a little different, and that's because Original Goat is finally making titanium scales, and I am so happy to report to you guys. You probably saw me put these on just yesterday when you're watching this video, but I've actually had this knife for almost a week now, considering all my content is pre-recorded. This thing has definitely made it into my pocket a lot more. Now, I already carried the MSI a ton before I got these scales, and then it kind of went back in the case, and I thought I'll get it back out again when I've got some really cool scales. Before this, I actually had aluminum scales from Original Goat, which, by the way, they make amazing USA-made custom scales for some of your favorite models. I'll have them linked down below as well. Many of my viewers have Original Goat scales, and they'll tell you the same thing. They are awesome. So finally getting titanium scales in this absolutely legendary knife, which is something that people were really excited about when Microtech released it, but pretty much immediately calling for titanium scales. And we all knew that as good as the price was on the MSI, titanium scales direct from Microtech would have resulted in a very, very high price tag. Now, these aren't going to be cheap because they are still contoured, machined titanium scales that are made in the United States. So it's still going to be a super pricey build. But if you were ever wondering, how does the MSI feel with full tie scales? Oh my gosh, this thing feels absolutely incredible. Every single time I pick this up, it just puts an absolutely massive smile on my face. I do kind of wish that they had deleted the liners completely, and I think that might have saved a little bit of weight. But either way, this thing is destined to be a tank, and honestly, it feels really, really good. I love carrying this knife. If you needed a reason to pick up the MSI, my suggestion would be skip the G10 version and just get the injection mold plastic version, because you can just immediately replace the scales and save yourself quite a bit of money. I think the standard MSI comes in at like, what, 175, 180, something like that. I'll have it linked down below. Getting custom scales on this knife is absolutely worth it. This thing will absolutely continue to make it into my pocket far more often as time goes on. Moving on here, also a knife that I've really enjoyed carrying is the Blade HQ exclusive edition of the Riat EXO. Admittedly, I don't love something sticky on the blade there. I don't love the two-tone. This is what Blade HQ sent me, but I gotta admit, the lighter weight of the aluminum on this guy, I actually prefer over the titanium version, which you guys know that I carried a ton. A lot of people look at the Riat EXO and kind of, assume it's real gimmicky and it's just sort of not really a convenient thing. It's just something that knife people love to play with and fidget with. And the truth is that both of those things are true. I like to carry this knife because I enjoy opening and closing it, manipulating that cool magnetic lock that's available on these newer versions. But I also like it because it is actually an incredibly reliable and easy to manipulate tool. The version that they sent me, I think, is in Nitro V, but the new ones are in LMAX for well under 200. That's spectacular. What are they? 160? Blade HQ is smart. At least, I know people are going to be like, they don't always get their listings correctly. When it comes to their exclusives, they know what they're doing 100%. I am certain that they will continue to release this. So whether this knife is available for pre-order or what right now, whenever it is that you're watching it, it will almost certainly be available again, and probably with multiple retailers in various colors. This was an excellent move by Riat, and it is well worth picking up for the money. I really enjoy this. Hope they come out with some bayonet and dagger ground blades in the future. I'd also like to see a full-size one in aluminum as well. Moving on here, this is an interesting one and a knife that makes it into my rotation very, very often, and that's the Civivi Vision FG. I know you guys are like, oh my God, we get it. You think it's the best knife ever. Like, you keep talking about, like, what do you want me to do? I like this knife. It's really good. And everybody else who picks it up says the same thing because it's true. This is the version with the, whatever they call this stuff, the clear plastic. It's kind of neat. I honestly started carrying this one a lot more because I just was tired of the Ultim scales that I had on my other one. Now, you guys are going to find out here really soon that this particular version of the Vision FG is definitely going back in the vault, and a new version of the Vision FG is going in my pocket. What is that new version? Like I said, you'll have to wait and watch my content, but I altered the Ultim one and made it essentially perfect, and that is the one that has replaced this one as of a couple of days ago. But this particular knife is the one that I have been carrying a lot. This knife I will reach for in almost any circumstance. If I'm headed out the door, I don't want to think too much about what's going in my pocket. I just want a knife that's going to be easy to carry, lightweight, compact, and very easy to manipulate. The Vision FG is that knife. I will keep saying this over and over and over again. I have never experienced a pocket knife that is dollar for dollar as good as the Vision FG. You have ease of manipulation, you have a good ergonomic profile, you have an excellent blade for utility, great materials, all of that. Super strong locking system. I mean, the Super Lock is legitimately a really strong locking system if you haven't seen the tests on it. Don't love the holes, don't really mind them. Definitely don't love the pocket clip, but there's ways around that, right? Custom clips and all that. Overall, this is just a stupidly good knife for a base price of $78. If you don't own the Vision FG, even if you're looking at it, you're like, metal complex, that looks like something that was recently run over by a semi-truck. Fair. It's a little bit weird looking. But if you don't own it, honestly, you should pick it up. It will change your mind. The knife is just way too good for its own good. And it's kind of, I wonder if Civivi's like, we probably shouldn't have made a budget version of that knife. It just feels way too good for the price that it's at. Really, really awesome knife. Highly recommended. Moving on here, these last two have gotten equal pocket time. They are dead equal and have truly dominated my pocket since I received them. And I think, truthfully, in second place is going to be my new pocket sword from Shirogorov, the F111. My wife buys me a pocket knife every year for our anniversary, and if you watch the unboxing of this monster, nearly a 10-inch folding knife, if you watch that unboxing, then you'll know I was really shocked when she, I already knew what it was before I had shown it on the channel, but I was so shocked she picked up a Shirogorov. She buys me a new knife every year, and the deal is that she wants to do her own research and try to figure out something that I don't have, which is obviously becoming increasingly difficult considering I run a knife channel, right? I did not know that the F111s were available. I truthfully probably would have added this knife to my collection at some point, but she really surprised me, not only with the Shiro, but with the amount that she spent on it. This is a super expensive knife, obviously not going to be for everybody. The point of these videos, some people always get confused with these videos. They're like, why are you showing knives that are super expensive? It's my most carried knives. Whatever the price is, I'm just informing people of what I've been carrying, right? This knife is something that I love. Definitely would have added to my collection, but I was shocked that she was willing to spend that much on a knife, given that her budget tends to be around $200 to $300, maybe $350, typically. Save for the arch nemesis she got me for our 5-year, but. The benefit of this knife, even though it is monstrous, is that it folds up into a ridiculously compact carry. It's insane that so much blade. I mean, Shirogorov is always doing this, though nearly 1-to-1 ratio of the blade to the handle, and honestly, pretty good balance. It comes in a little over 5 ounces, which is not bad considering it is way over 4 inches in terms of blade and cutting edge. I love this knife. I also like that I don't really have to baby it because it's an LC200N. I don't know what something I was cutting left a little scar on it, which is fine. This is a knife that I plan to use continuously, and it's just really cool. It's just a knife that puts a big smile on my face. So, speaking of a big smile on my face, I am super happy to share with you guys my number one because I have always wanted one of these to carry, but have always admittedly been a little bit afraid of them. And when I say them, I mean single action OTFs, specifically in the form of this Paragon Para-X. Oh boy, that's something special there. Yeah, this is less convenient than a dual action OTF. On a dual action OTF, you can flip the switch forward and fire the blade and then pull it back and retract it. This has an additional kind of cumbersome step where you have to sort of reload the blade, right? That mechanical twang is so cool. So this has a safety on if you're worried about it going off in your pocket. This has a safety with, it requires a significant amount of, well, I say significant, a deliberate amount of force to disengage it, right? So I've never had an issue with this going off in my pocket. A lot of people look at stuff like this, and the typical, sort of comment that you hear is, the point of carrying something like this is obviously for self-defense. So speed is of the utmost importance. So why would you, burden yourself with additional steps to fire the blade like disengaging a safety? Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting movie script from the 80s. Truthfully, I carry this because I think it's cool, and I like deploying the blade like that. I don't really need some big elaborate reason to carry something like this. Here are my main concerns. Is it legal where I live? Yes, I can legally own this knife and carry it where I live, which is Kansas, United States. They're like, sure, go ahead, right? I like it. And I'm not whipping this thing out at birthday parties, but around a lot of my friends that know that I'm, a knife guy, it is definitely a conversation piece. It's just super cool because it kind of has that movie switchblade look and feel. Every single time I fire this thing, it's just phenomenal. Paragon in the past, I was not incredibly impressed with their fit and finish. So admittedly, when I bought this knife, and it's not cheap, you can buy these on Blade HQ right now, I'm pretty sure, in a multitude of different colors. I just went with the classic black and silver. When I bought this knife, I was expecting some goofiness in the blade and the cutting edge, and honestly, the aluminum, I was just expecting the thing to not be very good. I am very happy to report that this knife is essentially perfect in the fit and finish department. Now, it's a lot of money, $400 for aluminum and some S35 VN. Paying a little bit more for the nature of the thing. It's a little bit more, of a complicated knife, and you've got the double grind, right? So that's going to be expensive for a lot of people. The main reason it costs so much money is because this is a truly USA-made knife, right? So we are talking the same caliber as your Microtech larger OTFs, right? Your Guardian Tactical larger OTFs. There are definitely dual action OTFs that are a better value, right? Like the Axial Shift, the Kershaw Livewire, your Dirac Delta, I think is still a better price than Microtech Ultratech, right? There's a number of double action OTF knives that are just a substantially better value. So really the main reason to pick something like this up would be because you want that single action power or that single action feeling, right? Realistically, I think that this knife is probably more like a $320 knife, but I just really wanted to carry a single action OTF. I love that sound. I love the feel of it. It's just super cool. And admittedly, I actually like taking the extra time to reload it, right? I love this. My goal was to eventually pick up a ProTech Dark Angel, which they have not made in a very long time, and I don't know if they ever will again. A lot of the other single action OTFs on the market, I either don't like the look of, or they're just so powerful that I'm just not comfortable picking them up. I love the look and feel of the Microtech Halo 6. I have reviewed it on this channel. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. That thing is so unbelievably powerful that I just don't like the idea of carrying it around. This one, I am certain, would probably poke a pretty good hole into my hand or leg if I accidentally fired it that way, but it's not quite as powerful. It's definitely powerful enough to deploy it when I want it to deploy, which is exactly what I want it to do, but I don't need my blades firing with enough force to pierce a watermelon. That's just not the type of hospital visit that I would like to explain to the doctor or pay for. So the Paragon Para-X, I think, is that sort of happy medium for me. And the other thing is I just enjoy the symmetry of this knife. I've got a big thing with symmetry, and outside of the little pull tab on this side and for some reason, I guess just like it's just the locked in position back here on the butt end. Everything else is symmetrical. The pocket clip works really well. It's actually a really comfortable knife. For a knife that, I'm carrying mostly for cool factor, it actually ends up being a pretty awesome tool. Not going to win any awards in the, geometry department in terms of like the cutting edge. It's a sharp edge on both sides, pretty thick geometry, right? The locking system is definitely strong enough for what I'm going to use it for. I don't plan on, prying any homes off their foundations with this knife, but it does what I want it to do. Mostly it just sounds cool and deploy. I love this. It will definitely continue to be a regular carry knife in my collection. So we'll get all these back out again. Once again, the new Paragon Para-X. We have the Shirogorov F111. We have a newer Civivi Vision FG. We have the Blade HQ exclusive edition of the Riat EXO M in aluminum and nitro V. And then we have the Microtech MSI with original goat titanium scales. Like I said, I'll link everything that I can down in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's going to be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at the_metal_complex. Still can't say that. There we go. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.